Possibilities, a collection of essays on how things might be, a way to move forward, composed from my lived experience. Implementation framework, CGS, Continuous Growth System. Implementation framework, from coherence theory to real-world systems. The CGS Continuous Growth System model. This section constitutes the tradition from philosophical architecture into applied structural reality. Where the previous essays defined coherence as the ethical and systemic core, this framework translates those principles into operational design. The continuous growth system model is not merely a technical proposal, it is the physical embodiment of a coherence respecting civilization, a regenerative infrastructure capable of sustaining human life, ecological health, and psychological stability in measurable, repeatable ways. CGS represents one of the few known systems architectures capable of achieving this simultaneously without defaulting to extractive or collapse-prone logic. Defining CGS. Continuous growth systems are integrated closed-loop or semi-closed-loop environments deliberately engineered to produce food, water, material, and energy within self-regulating cycles, reduce dependence on centralized industrial supply chains, preserve ecological integrity while sustaining human populations, stabilize local coherence across biological, social, and energetic dimensions. Rather than linear consumption to waste patterns, CGS operates through recursive nourishment loops that mimic living ecosystems. The goal is not survival, the goal is regenerative stability. CGS as living infrastructure. A CGS installation functions like a localized superorganism node. Nutrient cycles replace destructive agriculture. Water filtration becomes biological, not chemical. Waste becomes input. Energy is captured from ambient systems, such as gravity, solar, thermal, and kinetic. Human labor becomes cooperative maintenance rather than exploitative strain. Each CGS unit becomes a food source, an energy source, water purification center, educational environment, a community stabilization nucleus. This is not a farm, it is a functional biome engine. Modular coherence notes, CGS systems are modular by design. Each unit can operate independently or interconnect with others, forming fractal networks of resilience. Benefits of modularity include failure isolation, scalable growth, rapid deployment, local adaptation, reduced catastrophic risk. The network does not rely on singular points of collapse. It grows through distributed intelligence and structural redundancy. Socioeconomic reorientation. CGS redefines economic participation away from abstract labor toward meaningful contribution. Value is no longer measured by wage time, but by ecological and communal input. Participants become stewards of systems, co-creators of stability, maintainers of coherence, and knowledge sharers. Income structures can integrate hybrid models such as cooperative ownership shares, nested public-private trust models, resource credit systems, contribution index participation. CGS does not eliminate economy, it reroutes it in reality. Ecological human integration. Unlike industrial agriculture, which isolates human function from natural cycles, CGS deliberately re-embeds humanity within an ecosystem grammar. Microbes, plants, insects, humans, and structural materials operate in interdependent harmony. This is not romantic naturalism, it is systemic pragmatism. Health is reinforced through coherence. Correction. Ecological human integration. Unlike industrial agriculture, which isolates human function from natural cycles, CGS deliberately re-embeds humanity within an ecosystem's grammar. Microbes, plants, insects, humans, and structural materials operate in interdependent harmony. This is not romantic naturalism, it is systemic pragmatism. Health is reinforced because coherence is maintained at every biological level. Deployment strategy. CGS can be implemented through phased emergence in 4 phases. The first phase, pilot nodes, small-scale installations in food insecure or ecologically compromised zones. Phase 2, network expansion, interconnection of pilots into regional coherence grids. Phase 3, civic integration, embedding CGS into educational, medical, and housing infrastructures. Phase 4, cultural transition. CGS becomes normative infrastructure rather than experimental novelty. Governance and stewardship. CGS nodes require adaptive governance structures aligned with coherence principles, transparent decision making, local autonomy with shared protocol, rotational stewardship roles, consensus influenced hierarchy. The system does not function through command, it functions through coordination. Risk and resilience. CGS explicitly accounts for failure, environmental shocks, and social instability. Resilience is built through redundant nutrient paths, multi-source energy systems, cross-trained human roles, real-time environmental feedback loops. Failure in one area becomes instruction, not catastrophe. Very few systems can satisfy the simultaneous demands of sustainability, scalability, human health preservation, economic viability, and ecological repair. Most proposals solve one or two. CGS addresses the full spectrum, which is why it appears unconventional rather than normative. This does not make it implausible. It makes it paradigmatic. Implementation reality. CGS cannot be deployed as ideology. It must be demonstrated tangibly, repeatably, and visibly. Proof must precede adoption. This means prototype ecosystems, measurable outcome data, open source design logic, training protocols, cultural narrative integration. CGS scales through evidence. Closing frame. The implementation framework is not a dream map. It is the first translation layer between philosophical coherence and structural reality. CGS is not simply an idea of how the world could be. It is one of the few configurations currently capable of sustaining what the earlier essays demanded: coherence, dignity, and continuity of conscious life. And this is only the beginning layer of that translation. And that is the end of my essays for possibilities. This is a reflection of work, and I hope you enjoy it.